I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on and off for almost 20 years, which means over that period of time, I've looked at hundreds and hundreds of tutorials, reviews, and many topics on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu on YouTube. There are thousands of videos from many different practitioners of different skills and different levels talking about techniques and transitions and competitions and all the ins and outs of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu culture. And I've only once ever seen anyone talk about breathing, and that was actually in Hickson Gracie's movie documentary called Breathe. But his practice, to me, always felt somewhat esoteric and very hard to enter into. So based on my training and experience both in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and as someone who helps people breathe better, I wanted to share with you some ideas about how you can approach breathing to improve your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. The first thing I would like to talk about is just the ability to continue breathing and maintain a state of calm when you're in the middle of a wrestle, a bout, a roll, whether that's a competition roll, a training roll, or even just drilling. If you can maintain a consistent, calm breathing pattern, then your mental state, likewise, stays fairly consistent and fairly calm. What you end up doing is managing your emotional state and the state of your nervous system by just giving yourself a wonderful baseline to operate with. The simplest way to do this is by closing your mouth and breathing through your nose. Now, of course, there are a multitude of benefits of breathing through the nose, which will further assist you as you wrestle, as you grapple. And of course, these include filtering the air, slowing the air down as it comes in, warming the air, moistening the air, also getting nitric oxide into the system. All these benefit your ability to perform and keep performing, assist with stamina and power and endurance and all that wonderful stuff that goes into jiu-jitsu. As well as all that great stuff, breathing through your nose protects your jaw because you can close your teeth. It also protects your tongue because sometimes you get a knock on the jaw and you don't want your tongue out between your teeth because that would suck. And it allows you to practice a type of breathing that is not ragged, labored, excessive. You won't hyperventilate. You won't move yourself into a panic state. It is very hard to hyperventilate and panic if you're breathing through the nose. So that idea of staying mentally calm in the roll is largely dependent on how you are breathing. Now we can extend this further and you can practice as you're rolling, and this might be in a drill, in a practice roll that's not 100%, where you're not actually trying to rip each other's heads off. You can practice breathing slower than normal, or breathing deeper than normal, or just adjusting your breath in such a way that it balances out and calms down your body. Also, what this does is it allows you to keep some capacity in reserve. If after a minute you've just breathed so hard that you can't breathe anymore and you have depleted your body, then you've got 5 minutes of a bad time coming up. So this is just also about managing your energy systems in the bout, in the match, in the practice roll. Now, once you've got your head in some kind of control with jiu-jitsu, and I'm not saying it will stay that way all the time, because when people are trying to choke you unconscious or break your limbs, there is definitely a level of stress involved. We can then move on to this next idea of breathing mechanics and how we breathe in our torso. Let's skip over the idea of someone trying to choke us unconscious at the moment and actually stop the air coming in, and just look at what happens in the torso, especially if you are being defensive. If you're being defensive, if you're on your back, if someone has you in side control or mount, or even the back in some situations, your ability to breathe can be impaired. If someone's got your back and they've got a figure four, they can really press up into your diaphragm. If someone's knee on belly, again, that knee can be in your sternum, in your diaphragm, in your belly. Depends how mean the person's being at that point, doesn't it? Also, with a very heavy side control, someone can crush your chest and they can move around to make it terribly uncomfortable. In all these cases, it becomes much more difficult to breathe than if you are just comfortably sitting watching the TV at home. So learning how to breathe into different parts of your torso is important. Sometimes you can breathe high. Now, I normally wouldn't recommend that, but if someone is smashing your diaphragm, you may need to use your shoulder muscles to pull in some air. If someone's on your chest, then you can belly breathe. If no one's really putting pressure anywhere, you can use your diaphragm, which is the best way to breathe, to get an amount of air in. What I find with people who are relatively new to jiu-jitsu or haven't experimented with this idea before is they will over breathe. And when they feel someone putting pressure on and they can't breathe to the capacity that they're used to, they start panicking. And that blows this whole idea of calmness out of the water that we talked about in the first point. So practicing breathing less than you think you'll need is also an important aspect of using different mechanisms, different parts of your anatomy to breathe. Another part of this is working out how to use your arms, maybe your shoulders, maybe your angles to allow a little bit more room to breathe. Often what I find is there is enough room to breathe if you take the time to find it. The key is to not panic. So the first two things that we've covered are all about what's happening in the roll, in the match, at go time for that, let's say 6 minutes, which is generally what we roll for, isn't it? But what about what you can do when you're not at training? Well, you can actually practice your breathing to benefit how you're going to train. Much like you could go to the gym and swing some kettlebells or run 5K runs, do hill sprints to benefit your endurance, your explosiveness, whatever it may be, you can actually practice breathing patterns and different exercises that will benefit you in different ways. And I'll share a couple of them with you right now. You can practice different breathing to get your mindset changed. So you might have heard of box breathing, which is 4 seconds of breathing in, a 4-second pause, 4 seconds out, and then another 4-second pause before you repeat. If you do that for 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 minutes, you change your mental state. You actually become relaxed, but also alert, also focused. So it's a really interesting way to get yourself prepared for a match. This would work really well before a competition. Also, if you practice breath holds, longer breath holds on the exhalation, you can encourage the production of EPO in your body and also splenic contraction, which pumps red blood cells into your body. This is quite involved, and I think I'll have to do another video to cover this, but ask Dr. Google and you'll get some information about how breath holds done in the right way can improve your blood's ability to carry oxygen around your body. And I'm sure I don't have to explain why that's beneficial in jiu-jitsu or indeed any other athletic pursuit. So there you go. You have 2 ways of improving your jiu-jitsu while you are rolling, and 1 way, which is actually a multitude of ways under one umbrella, of using breath outside of training to make you better equipped to train and go stronger for longer and maybe better, who knows. Anyway, if you were to practice your breathing regularly, your jiu-jitsu will improve. If you have enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. Please hit the like button so the AI knows that people actually do like this kind of content, and share it with a friend, maybe not a competitor that you're going up against in the next competition, maybe one of your training partners. And thank you for watching.